I will explain more about my creation of web design, web layout for HTML with HTML, SCSS, and my main task was to make this layout responsive. You can see here, make this responsive. Okay, so I will now show to you that this is totally responsive layout. I believe you have the opportunity to see that on my link, but I will here explain more. So we can see that this layout is totally flexible. I have used many display flex features in SCSS. Also, I have used Bootstrap in fluid images for Bootstrap. So this is totally responsive layout. For example, here on Galaxy S3 and LG Optimus, or maybe on the Nokia Lumia, or maybe Nokia N9, or maybe on iPad, whatever screen size you take, you will have a flexible layout. Now, I will explain more about how I have used my code to achieve this result. Okay, I will explain more about HTML and the SCSS code, which I have used. Okay, on the top you can see that I added HTML lang option, which is for language. Also language coding UTF-8, because it's for my Serbian language very appropriate. Later, I added a very short description, responsive test, then keywords. I added 3 keywords: company, responsive, and test. Very important, meta name viewport for different devices sizes. For quality view on Internet Explorer, I added X and compatible line of code. Next, because I have used Bootstrap, I needed to connect my SCSS Bootstrap files with index.html file. Later, I connected the main style sheet, SCSS style CSS, to my index.html. I added simple title, Acklen responsive test. Okay. You can see here also that we have a body, and on top of the page wrap div class, I added content div class. Why? Because I wanted to center in any direction my main content, and that was page wrap, but div class content I have used to center it with display flex my app. We will here see that you have here make this responsive, then paragraph below, and I just need to say that I have downloaded most of these images, actually any of them, Shira, Cat, Nicolas Cage, Beer, any of these images I have downloaded because I needed that on my laptop for easier work. Okay. On bottom part, you can see that I have used the Bootstrap 3-column system. I created a row where I inserted call for, second call for, and third call for, and it created excellent responsive effect. Okay, on the bottom you can see JavaScript connections for jQuery, which is a requirement for Bootstrap, also Popper, which is a requirement for Bootstrap, and other Bootstrap files. Okay, now I will explain more about style SCSS. Okay, here I inserted several fonts with font face elements. It was Jura, Megrim, Red Honey, Railway Dots, and Text Me One. But you need to know that I have used only three of these: Jura, Red Honey, and Text Me One. Okay. Also, because to easy my work, I have used mixins where I have created mixins for A, I, H1, H2, and paragraph elements. You can see here that I have created blocks for any of these to later just insert them in the code. Also, you can see here that I have created mix scenes for responsive design for screens below 300 pixels and screens between 300 and 400 pixels, between 400 and 500 pixels, and ATC. Okay, I have created only one variable background, which I have used to add dark background to my layout. Okay, and you can see that I this background added here. Okay, just I have said on index HTML page, content is my main container for whole layout, and with display flex and justify content center, I centered whole layout on the center of the screen. But I didn't want to my layout use whole screen, but I limited that to 19%. So I erased these previously 800 pixels, and here you can see that I have 19%, and that's much better for responsive design. Top and bottom margins are 25 pixels, so it's, I believe, quality solution. Okay, here you can see main story. That's okay. Width is 100 because it need to cover whole top image. Okay, and you can see that here background with some kind of opacity is added to top image. Okay. In this part, you can see in my comment, I have used Bootstrap's three columns, so you can see that I have created these columns. But what we can see here, we can see here that I have slightly modifications on image, main image, on bottom part of screen, left and right images I modified. So my left image moved right for 15 pixels, and also you can see that sub-story area, so it text below image, I also moved for 15 pixels, and I that work for last column and also image, but in this case I moved all of these 15 pixels from the left. Okay, and you can see here that I have added my mix scenes, and here in bottom part I worked with different screen size, max width 300, so 301 to 400, from 401 to 500, from 501 to almost 1200s. And later I created the layouts for large screens. You can see here. Okay, you can see that here. Also, it's important to say that you can see that I always added new mix scenes for text, because it's much easier than to write any all time new code. I just included my mix scenes. That's it. If you have any additional question of my work, be free to contact me on my email, and I hope you have that. Thank you very much for your